Is your elephant staring at me? This video is all about elephants. Before we talk about this, let's rewind a bit, as I seldomly do. My special edition video with signifying that we're 1/4 the way done got some comments about that, asking for shorter videos. And my response would be, I really appreciate that feedback. I understand why shorter would be better, because people are running out of time. But that would perpetuate busyness, and busyness isn't synonymous to happiness necessarily. And that's what I'm going for. Happiness light. Happiness and light, meaning making life light, not making life heavy. I think busyness is more synonymous to being a perfectionist, and therefore a perfectionist, I believe, is more synonymous to being stressed, being depressed. So, in summary, that's why I don't make shorter videos. I don't want to perpetuate being busy. These videos I'm making are for happiness and for lighter life, not for busyness and possibly depression and being a perfectionist. So with that being said, let's start our elephant videos. First of all, what is an elephant? Well, when I say introducing an elephant, talking about uncomfortable talking points, expectations, or boundaries. Now, this is very difficult for people, me included, to talk to people about uncomfortable situations, especially with everyone having his or her own distinct personality. But all you need is 20 seconds of courage, and then you can have an abundance of joy in the future. I think introducing elephants are just bringing up potential trouble. For instance, if person A, well, let's say if I were talking to person B, and person B knew that I was long-winded and I interrupted, and sometimes I can come off self-righteous. If person B didn't bring that up, I wouldn't have any knowledge of that. If he did say, listen, hey Skip, with all due respect, sometimes you may come off self-righteous, you may come off disrespectful because you interrupt people. I would acknowledge that. Not only I would acknowledge that, but he would acknowledge that. And therefore we would respect each other. It's not politically correct, I know. I hate that. But we will talk about that in a later video. But I acknowledge that, so I reflect. He reflects as well. And as we all know, Socrates said, a life worth living is a life examined. And we'll talk about that in a later video too. But we both will respect each other, because person A told me the truth in a tactful manner, or in a respectful manner, and I respect him. I realize he is very reflective. He realizes that in me, and later on we can move from that. So that potentially was a troubling point for him, but he introduced the elephant, and now we don't have trouble. It's easier said than done. Of course, all these videos I bring up are easier said than done. Nobody's perfect, but I believe if you try this, I think you'll have greater boundaries, greater expectations, and more satisfying relationships, more respecting relationships. So that's how you introduce an elephant. A story is with my background, it's kind of difficult to relate, and because it's difficult to relate, people don't think that I can help them because they can't relate to me. Well, you can. Let me illustrate my story and then let me relate to you guys, hopefully. So, I teach in Wyoming, and I have to be a team teacher at some points of the day. So, I'm introducing myself first few weeks, not telling people my background. People are starting to gossip. They're starting to ask questions, and people tell me firsthand, or secondhand rather, that people have questions. So in a meeting, I tell everybody, I stand up and I say, hey, I know I have disabilities, or you should know I have disabilities, and I know you're uncomfortable about those disabilities, and I also know that as a team player, you're uncomfortable that I can't work on the same level as you guys. I'm paraphrasing this or long phrasing this, but I said, but give me a chance. I can do this job, and I sat down. And so they respected me. They told me this, and that's how you introduce an elephant. Now, to relate this story more to you guys, pretend you have to introduce yourself in the NBA, in the National Basketball Association, or a professional league of sorts of any profession. Well, especially I guess any sports professional league, because no one who is hearing this is participating in that. And pretend like you have to introduce yourself. Would it be easier to maybe introduce that elephant up front and saying, hey, listen, I'm not a professional sports player, but I'm going to try my best. Would they respect you more, or if you just kind of worked your hardest for a few weeks, few months, and didn't cut it? How would that be? And would, like, Steph Curry or LeBron James or Russell Westbrook respect you just because they knew something was off, but nobody said anything? I think that trouble would grow and grow and build and build. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. This is the wise, able, disabled guy signing off.